गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Om. Fifth shloka in the 25th shloka in the 5th chapter. Labhante brahma nirvanam rishaya kshina kalmashaha chinnadvaidhayatatmanas sarvabhuta hite rataha. Sarvabhuta hite rataha. A person who is Sarvabhuta hite rataha. These days it is becoming very difficult to talk to anybody. Because only mental cases alone becomes human beings ansutta. It looks that only mental case. People are born as human beings. How to make silent? Just a minute. I'll make it silent. There is no chance for making it silent. Abba. This again and again makes me. I think, silent mode. Somebody is ringing. We are the modern society, particularly Indian society. I don't know about Europe, America and all. Day by day, we are becoming animals. I think the civilization means you give a choice to become an animal, lose your humanness, human being. I think that seems to be. Freedom is only meant for abuse. Freedom is never meant for using. This is what is happening now. Freedom is never meant for using. So you are not supposed to do anything good in life. You must do only bad. This is what the communism is. This is what certain ideologies are coming up. And I think no sane person can live on the earth, it looks these days. No sane person can live and should live. The world is meant for only mental cases. That's why I think now I am able to understand our Puranas better, because they say the Kali Yuga, people will become almost animals and the world is no more required. The world cannot survive, and it is not at all required for them to live. Then I think a pralaya comes. Pralaya means a deluge comes and the world will be wiped out. And the modern civilization, like the atheism, communism and all that, they are making the human beings into animals. And they are making it is inevitable that you must become an animal, otherwise you must not live. The chance, the saneness is disappearing. Everybody is forced to become like that. That's how the world is. I think what an intelligence, what a greatness of a human being, that he can only damn himself. Okay, so he says, Sarvabhuta hite rata. A person, so a jnani, in the 25th shloka, I think this Sarvabhuta hite rataha, one who is engaged. Rata means one who is engaged, or one who is interested, let us say. One who is devoted to the not even devoted. I don't know how to translate it, it's very difficult. Rata means who enjoys, that is better. One who enjoys Sarvabhuta hite rataha, one who enjoys in the good of everybody, or one who derives happiness, not even derives, I think you can't even translate that way. Means whose happiness, I don't know how to say, krute rataha ahimsakaha, who is always I'm finding very difficult to translate. Sarva bhuta hite rata. Because anything you say, these modern fellows have spoiled whole language. You cannot talk to anybody. That's why I'm telling day by day I should close my mouth and remain silent. You can't talk to anybody. Every word, it is meant to only misunderstand. Everything is only to destroy. Whole thing, I only see the negativity alone, terrible negativity. Any word is meant for misunderstanding alone. So you can't speak anything. And they don't want. They want only to misunderstand. That is their freedom, that is their greatness, that is their creativity, and that is their, I think, everything of life. Sadism is the only goal of life. Sadism is the only what you say, a natural inclination they want to develop. Grow into a sadist. And then legitimize it. That is the only thing. We used to hear such stories in our childhood, in our Niti Shastras, in Panchatantra and such other. We would laugh at them. Can a person ever be like that? But I am seeing these days that the people want to destroy themselves. Oh, what a thing. Feminism has created. Oh, they just want to become what no human being can imagine. No, even animals cannot imagine. They want to become like that. Because anything you become a sadist, pervert, most biggest mental case, that is the achievement. Still they are proud that we are like this. It's the strangest thing on the earth. But that's how the world is. I think Bhagwan told in Kali Yuga, this is going to be there. And people are becoming like that. So the communication is becoming very difficult, very important, very impossible. Sarva Bhuta. That means you see, it's a very interesting thing. When there is a light, when light is illumining, if it wants to illumine a given person, its attention is on a given person. When the light wants to give light to everybody, when the sun wants to give light to everybody, it doesn't look at who is receiving, who is not receiving. If he is not looking at who is receiving, who is not receiving, it only implies that it becomes your nature. Illumination becomes your nature, that's all. So whoever comes closer to sun, you will get the light. If you close yourself, you don't get the light. That means Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata, being in the being interested or being in the love of doing good to everybody. Sarva Bhuta Hita, in the interest of everybody. So the universal interest, one who is engaged in the universal interest, universal well-being. Okay, universal well-being. That means he doesn't choose some people, doesn't be selective. It is spontaneous goodness. It only means his nature becomes a natural love and what you say, helping, naturally inclined to help everybody. That is better. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. Rata means inclined. Yeah, now I got it. He is inclined to do good to everybody by nature. That's all. So for this, Bhashakara interprets Sarvesham Bhutanam Hite Anukule. Hita means Anukula, he interprets. Anukula means makes them happy. Rata. In short, he is Ahimsaka. Ahimsaka means a non-violent. He doesn't think of harming anybody. He has no inclination to harm others. So sadism is out of question. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. I think we have explained before. I thought of discussing Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata two ways. One is his nature, his natural inclination is one. Nature means a natural inclination. His natural inclination is, even in his dream, he doesn't think ill of anybody, doesn't think of harming anybody. Doesn't think of harming anybody, ill of anybody. Why? Because, see, why doesn't do? Because there are no others other than him. That is the idea. Anybody, any jiva is inseparable from himself. They are just himself. So that when the individuality melts away and he discovers himself as the pure consciousness, the Satchidananda Brahma, from that standpoint, nothing exists apart from him and everything is his nature, Brahman alone. When everything is his own nature as Brahman, then whom does he hurt? He has no thought of other. Swamiji says, Bhashakara says, Ahimsakaha. Ahimsaka means by nature he doesn't hurt anybody, doesn't harm, doesn't hurt anybody. So doesn't harm, doesn't hurt anybody is a behavior. People think it is an ethics. See here, Jnani's nature, Jnani's Tattvajnani is an enlightened man's, his nature, his swarupam, his essential nature, he is described through a behavior. See, one important point we have to understand here. It's a very important. Bhagavad Gita explains the nature of Atma through its expression. Now, what is heat? How do you explain? What is heat? For example, take it. What is heat? Heat, how do you explain? There may be a technical, scientific way of telling, but for a common man, when you go near him, it burns you. When it burns you, and that nature is called heat. Okay. So similarly, here, certain behavior, certain interaction he is talking of. Now he is not prescribing as an ethical behavior. Bhagavan Krishna is not teaching an ethical behavior that you are supposed to treat him well and all that is okay. Ethically also, in your behavior also, you try to be good to people, don't hurt them, don't harm them, be good to them, love them, care for them, all that is okay. But it is not simple behavior alone. So this Sarvabhuta Hite Rataha doesn't come as a simple behavior. By practicing, you won't get it, because this is the biggest mistake with misunderstanding and a mistake with Gandhiji committed. And most of the moderners are also doing the same thing. Most of the moderners, they think that, see, when Jnani's nature is explained through a behavior, through certain events, certain expressions, people think that by practicing, by imitating this behavior, you become enlightened. This is the biggest mistake. You understand? You take this same example. Sarvabhuta hite rataha is a nature of a jnani. This nature can be learned only by understanding the truth, only by intuiting the Atma's nature. When you transcend your individuality, you falsify your individuality. That means you understand that your individuality based upon body, mind and sense organs. My individuality based upon body, mind and sense organ is understood as a false. Okay, that means my identity is not through the body. So I am not that individual who is seen through the body. My identity through sense organs, identity through mind. When I understand the nature of my existence, the nature of my consciousness is independent of body, independent of my sense organs, independent of mind. Therefore, my individuality is not my real nature. It is only a wrong way of looking my reality. My real existence is something which is infinite, absolute, but I am seeing through a given element, a given thing like body, mind and sense organ. It is like looking at the space. Space is all pervasive. Ether in English they call. The space is all pervasive, the ether is all pervasive. You look at through walls of a room, it looks like a small area, a small room, a small hall. Similarly, the pure consciousness, the pure space, space is all pervasive, it cannot be located, it cannot be seen in a given place. First thing is remove the location, idea of location. Drop the idea of location. See the infinity. To see the infinity, you have to drop the very idea of location. Okay? The location less, dimension less. You are free from location, free from dimension. But it is existence. An existence, a spontaneous, natural existence without a location, without a dimension. Okay, similarly, this is what space is. Infinite and all pervasive. Similarly, here, Atma has to be seen free from your identity as an individual. That means you become identity-less. You transcend the identity. You transcend the identity. You are the absolute infinite truth. Okay. This understanding, this is an intuitive understanding. This intuitive understanding or an anubhava, you get it. Thereafter, the individuality may appear from the other worldly standpoint, but it looks like more like a drama, more like an action in a drama. It is not his real nature, but it is a limited expression in a limited context. Okay? What is infinite? Like in space itself is infinite, but you always look at space in a given area, in a given object, with reference to given object. Space by itself is infinite, but we can see it because with our eyes and others, we can see it only in a given area, given place and a given thing. So similarly, when person who transcends his individuality, transcends means what? He takes his individuality is a false and tentatively assumed one just for a play. He understands his real nature is free from any identity. When he looks at himself, when he understands himself, I don't see myself as an individual, just like a baby. Baby doesn't have a self-consciousness, no individual consciousness, no individual identity. But baby exists as an infinite without a particular idea of himself, a particular image. It doesn't have a particular image, a particular identity, but exists as an infinite being. Okay. So after discovering that, he lives at that level. He always exists as that. But when he interacts with others, he has to assume an individuality, which is a false and tentative. Like we play in a drama, you assume like a baby, you assume somebody else, you may sometimes you assume like a dog, like an elephant. You are playing an elephant, you act like an elephant. So it is only an assumed personality, but it doesn't exist there. Okay. There is some problem in the internet. Due to poor wireless connection, your broadcast has been paused. Consider moving to find a better signal, or you can end the broadcast. Ayya Rama. I just wait. My signal for the Facebook is giving trouble. Let me wait a few seconds. Bantu. Yeah, it has come. Come back. Okay. See, now identity is transcended. Then the earlier identity becomes just a false and a tentatively assumed. Assumed means it's only a thought. It doesn't exist. Falsely assumed, doesn't exist. So, as an individual, when interacting from others' standpoint, himself transcends a limited context, yet he may express through a context. See the difference? Now, first I am free from any given situation, given context is an infinite. Yet if he interacts, it is a purely assumed one. Mind is assumed, individuality is assumed, body is assumed, sense organs are assumed, even world is assumed. Entire state, entire waking world is assumed as if it is there. Assumed as if it is there. See? So, such an enlightened person. Now we are talking of him through the world, which is an assumed world and individuality and all that. It's just a superficial. Superficial means is only a thought, doesn't exist. Doesn't exist as a reality. Now, such a person, when he interacts, how does he look at people? When he says everything is only a drama, he just acts. Acts means he just lives. Play doesn't mean carelessness. See, this is the difference. When you playfully live, Bhagavan we call of Ishvara also. Bhagavan as an Ishvara, it is a Leela. We say the whole world creation is a Leela. Leela means a sport. A sport or a play. A child's playful sport. This is called Leela in Sanskrit. When we say a Leela, a sport of Bhagavan, we think that generally children when they play, carelessly they play. They don't follow any rule, any law. We don't follow any law. Play means what? You just put something like that, laugh at it, smile and so everything and jump and dance and that's it. So you shout and scream. So in play, in sport, you don't follow any rule. Generally children play. But Ishvara's play, it follows a certain pattern, certain orderliness. Even the orderliness is a play for him. For us, order is a discipline. Discipline is a control. Control is a control causes attention. Makes you extremely careful. When you are careful, you become stiff and you become stressed up. Mind becomes stressed. Oh, you have to be careful. You have to follow the rule. When there are no rules, informally, you just do as you like. We associate any orderliness, any discipline calls for tension. Freedom means no tension. No tension means no rules to follow anything. So this is how the human mind is. But Ishvara's mind, you understand Ishvara's understanding. Even the orderliness, discipline also is a sportive. It doesn't call for his tension. Even the disciplined way also is a sportive way. He's very disciplined. He acts with people. He loves them, cares for them, takes care of them. He does everything. But there is no strain. There is no consciousness that he's supposed to do good. He does good by nature. Spontaneously, he does good to everybody. Even in his dream, he doesn't think of doing bad to anybody, harming anybody. Spontaneously, he does good to people. Okay, spontaneously does good to everybody, doesn't hurt anybody. But this spontaneous non-injury, non-hurting, spontaneous love is not a consciously attempt. It is not a conscious attempt on his part. Even taking decision, etc. happens spontaneously without any stress, without any strain on his part, without any stress in his mind. That is the freedom. Because among all the freedoms, taking decision, the willpower is the biggest stress. Will is the biggest stress. How does Jnani handle the will? You have to take decisions. You have to act. You have to go. You have to do. How does he take decision? That is the one he transcends. Even taking decision is not a stress on his part. Even that becomes a playful, sportive thing. Even the taking decision also is a sportive thing, playful thing. It doesn't pressurize, doesn't cause any tension, doesn't pressurize. Even that is a sportive thing. Because he transcends that. Himself exists at a level where even the mind and decision making also doesn't exist. He exists at a level where he is free from even that. But the mind is an assumed, decision making, all that is an assumed one. From the worldly standpoint, not from his standpoint. From his own self, it doesn't exist. Then, even the taking decision, most difficult decision also is a play. Is a sportive. It doesn't tax him, doesn't stress him, because it is just spontaneous. Spontaneous joy. Therefore, he remains the same happy all along, naturally and happy, spontaneously happy. So, a jnani, an enlightened being who is spontaneously happy, his behavior is expressed. See, how he interacts with the world, his behavior is expressed in contrast with the ordinary man's behavior. Ordinary man taking decision is a stress. Acting with people also is a stress because he has to choose somebody, that I love somebody, I have to do something good to people. How can you love everybody? Loving everybody is his nature, not that he looks at the people. Just like the sun illumines not because he is looking at somebody, somebody needs light, somebody is in darkness, he needs light, therefore let me illumine. Sun doesn't choose to illumine. Sun remains the very illumination. Whoever needs, he gets benefited. Sun remains by nature illumination. Then whoever needs, he gets it. See, so therefore, jnani's behavior is a spontaneous behavior emanating like a sun's illumination. Is not a conscious choice. It is not an action on his part. The fire is hot is not a conscious choice. It is a spontaneous expression of his inner freedom, of his infinite nature of Atma. So, jnani's behavior is not a ethical behavior, it is a conscious choice, it is not a discipline learned, practiced and kept as an aim. It is not an aim. He is not keeping them as ideals. Jnani doesn't keep them as ideals. No, I should not hurt others, I should always love people. He doesn't make it as an ideal, nor it practice it as an ideal. Then what is it? He doesn't. I think a better example is look at a baby. Baby naturally plays with everybody, whoever comes and goes. Does a baby has a plan that I should be like that, I should love everybody, I should go and play with him, whoever calls I will go and sit on his with play with him. All these things, spontaneous nature, it is not a discipline practiced by baby. See, practicing is something different from spontaneous expression. Okay? Spontaneous expression, you don't choose it, you don't practice it. Sun is not practicing illumination, fire is not practicing being hot. Okay, burning is not an action on the part of it, it is its nature. Illumination is a nature on the part of the sun. Similarly, all certain characters, certain behavior, certain spiritual qualities talked about jnani, talked about an enlightened being in the Shastras, particularly in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita talks more of these things compared to other Upanishads. Also say, Upanishads and other books also talk of them here and there, but Bhagavad Gita talks more of them. So how do we understand this jnani's behavior expressed in these things? Is it an ethical behavior meant for practicing, or is it meant to explain jnani's swarupam? Swarupam means his enlightened state. Is it explaining us, is it helping us to understand jnani's enlightened state with the help of this behavior? This behavior is helping us to understand his inner nature, which is an enlightened state. So, that natural state of enlightenment, it is these behaviors expressed is not meant for, in a way, they are not meant for practicing. I think, no, in a way meant for practicing, but in a way not. This is a distinction very difficult to understand. They are meant for, how to say, for, okay, let me explain both. Anyway, I have a time now. Let me explain. It is a bit deeper and a complicated thing. Let me explain again. So, jnani's nature, two ways of telling. One is, from his standpoint, it is a spontaneous expression. So, once you say it is a spontaneous expression, he is not consciously practicing, baby is not consciously innocent, baby is not trying to act as an innocent, baby is innocent because it can't be otherwise. It can't be otherwise. There is no choice. Choicelessly innocent. Baby is choicelessly innocent. This is better. Spontaneous means choiceless. Spontaneous means choiceless. Natural. Baby is spontaneously innocent, choicelessly innocent, naturally innocent. So an enlightened being is spontaneously loving, naturally loving, choicelessly loving. So all his behavior that is described in Bhagavad Gita is only spontaneous, natural, choicelessly, just they happen. Now, this is explained to us so that we can understand what enlightenment is. What is that spontaneity? Now, can you practice spontaneity? This is the question. Can enlightenment is a spontaneous, it is a natural. He doesn't consciously choose. Just like the sun shining is not a practice on his part, it is nature. Now, his nature is explained through certain behavior. A spontaneous expressions, external expressions are used, are explained, are used to help us to understand Jnani's nature. Jnani's, his real Atma, his real nature. It is like explaining what sun's light is through his illumination. So this is a very peculiar language Bhagavad Gita uses. More often, others Upanishads also use here and there, but Bhagavad Gita uses little more. Now, if it is explains it, then how should we take it? His spontaneous nature of love and universal love and universal help, and then doesn't think of no thinking ill will, no thinking ill of others, and all this. This is not practicing. It is his infinite nature. It is spontaneous nature, choiceless nature. There is no choice on his part. That's how he is. It happened. He can't be otherwise. Jnani can't be otherwise because there is no choice. That's what it is. Baby is innocent by nature, choiceless. So, what is choiceless? You can't practice. Can you practice choicelessness? This is an important question. People think it is an ethical Bhagavad Gita. Jnani's nature is explained. But even though explained, is not teaching as an ethics to be practiced. Now, a person like Gandhi is as an example because he is very popular and he represents the biggest mistake of human being. I am not blaming Gandhiji as a person. It can happen with any human being. These days, most of the people are doing like that. Therefore, Gandhi becomes a simple example. I am not blaming him, just taking as an example. What he misunderstood, he means most of the people, these modern days, all people are misunderstanding like that. They think the Bhagavad Gita or even Vedanta explaining Jnani's, his essential nature, his Atma Swarupam, through his spontaneous expressions of certain behavior. But all the behavior is not practiced by Jnani. They are expressions, a spontaneous expression, choiceless expression. Now this spontaneous, choiceless expressions, can we consciously practice with our will? By consciously practicing, can you become choiceless? This is the big question. Gandhiji thought that all these Jnani's expressions, qualities expressed in Vedanta, can be consciously practiced like an ethical practices. By physically you practice, that you love ahimsa, you love everybody. Physically you can practice, even if he hurts. Externally you can show it to others that if he hurts me, I will not hate him. I will sit like this. So he thinks that by physically practicing, you can become choiceless. By choosing, you can become choiceless. This is the biggest mistake. That's because he didn't have a guru. He didn't understand what is that transcendental state of Atma. And not only he didn't have a guru, he thought that there is nobody who is worth, I did not find anybody who is capable of becoming my guru. And I am practicing. He says, he wrote his biography, autobiography, and he named it My Experiments with Truth. This may be very attractive name for people. It looked that very humble man, what a humble Gandhiji, he experimented truth and all that. But spiritually, that is the most foolish statement in spiritually. Most foolish, but the foolishness is considered as the humblest one, is a great idea, great word. This whole situation, 20th century or 19th, 20th century, because of the more westernized mind, and they take it that spiritually we are practicing. See, it is like calling that you are trying to practice spontaneity. You are trying to practice in innocence. Can you practice spontaneity? Can you practice choicelessness? This is the mistake. It is not his own mistake, it is a human mistake alone. Human being thinks that the spontaneity, the transcendental state can be achieved by practicing something, you reach it. This is what Shankaracharya told. Karma cannot give you jnanam, moksha. Karma cannot give you moksha. Karma is practicing. Karma is choose choice. By choosing, you can't become choiceless. In one shot, in modern language, modern simple language which common man, which modern man can understand, is karma cannot give you moksha. It only means, this is a technical way of telling Shankaracharya's words, Upanishadic words. Karma cannot give you moksha. It only means that you can't choose, you can't practice to be choiceless. You can't practice to be spontaneous. See, this is what Shankaracharya meant it. You can only discover. It is a discovery, spontaneity, a choicelessness is your nature of Atma. Sakshi. Witnessing is not an action. People say, I try to be witness. Witness or a Sakshi. People say in India, people say they read books on their own. Swamiji, I want to be Sakshi. I want to practice Sakshi. Tell me how to practice Sakshi. How to explain to them? They don't study Vedanta from a guru. In yesterday alone, I made in my Facebook, I made a comment. And then, I don't know, some people have understood in a right way, but some people have misunderstood it, because that's how they are. Without studying a deep subject of Vedanta from a guru, when I suggested them to study from a personal guru, first you start and initiate, get introduced to the topic and prepare, and then you will understand a deeper Vedanta. When I suggested them, they say, oh, Vedanta is meant for everybody. Sannyasi, you can't choose, you can't be choicy, it is meant for everybody, to give knowledge to all and all. These are all political, foolish, nonsensical talk. Because they can only be nonsensicals. Because they are all just fools. But I think our Shankaracharya told once, our Shringeri Shankaracharya, in Sanskrit, Mukhamastiti na vaktavyam. Once he was talking to somebody, he was advising. You shouldn't speak just because you have a mouth. These are the people, they speak because they have a mouth, not brains. They just talk any nonsense. So when we talk something, a deeper thing, they're just incapable of understanding. They talk any nonsense. So anyway, what can I do? The Facebook is such a field that everybody opens and talk. I already told, don't get crash. Don't trespass. The Facebook is not that anybody just go and open and read anything and talk anything nonsense against you. It is a serious topic. You have to be initiated. You have to go deeply into it. If you are a newcomer, start. Then patiently listen for a length of time, for 6 months or 1 year. Then you may start understanding. Then you will go depth into it. Then it's okay. First day they start arguing with me. Oh, it's not like that. Then it is all talking a political talk. Okay, it's a foolishness alone. So people, even after listening for 2 years, 5 years, also are unable to understand. Because, no, I'm not blaming any person. The subject is such that it is very deep, very subtle thing. It requires a patiently. It requires a total devotedness, and you have to be a spiritual sadhaka. You have to be devoted to it, and over a period of time, you get it. It becomes a very difficult thing, but you will get it. If you are sincere and devoted to it and work for it, you will get it. See, here it is very interesting. Person, Gandhiji as an example, I told you I am not blaming him. Person is a respectable person in many ways. So you leave him. And just as an example, because he is a very prominent person, therefore we take him as an example. Not to blame him as a person. Many people are doing like that. They think by practicing, I want to practice Sakshitvam. Swamiji, what should I do? Sit like this. If you hold it, it is a thought. You are holding means you are willing. By willing, can you transcend the will? Simple question. By choosing, can you become choiceless? By willing, can you transcend the will? Gandhiji made this mistake. He thinks that jnanis do like this, non-violence and etc. I practice non-violence. I practice certain ethics. By practicing ethics, Bhagavad Gita talks of nature of jnani through ethics. See, nature of jnani explained through certain behavior. The behavior of jnani, enlightened man, explained in Bhagavad Gita, they are spontaneous expression. They are not meant to be practiced. Okay? They are not meant to be practiced as an ethical behavior. They are spontaneous expressions. Okay? And these spontaneous expressions, should they be practiced? No. Then why they are taught here? This is the... And one more point is here. At one time, at one place, Shankaracharya in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Sthita Prajna Lakshana. When he talks of Sthita Prajna, there he says, whatever is Jnani's nature, it is meant for practice of a sadhaka. It is for a sadhaka, the same thing is given for sadhaka in order to practice it. Now here question comes. Just now I told spontaneity cannot be practiced. You can't choose, you can't will to be free from will. You can't choose to become choiceless. Then why again Shankaracharya told that Jnani's spontaneous nature is sadhana, is an ideal for sadhakas to practice? This is a two different thing. This I can tell you, it's a very subtle thing. Listen patiently, you'll get it, you'll understand it. Probably I will explain again in the next class also, because it's a very subtle point. If you practice it with your will only as an ethical value, you can't become choiceless. You can't become sakshi. Sakshitvam cannot be attained by simply practicing. If you are a vicharaka, a self-enquiry, if you do Vedanta, if you listen to Vedanta, you understand the truth. You in your understanding, you understand sakshitvam is there already, an existing fact, a self-existing fact. You shift your vision. You shift your vision from the worldly standpoint, individuality standpoint to the Atma. In that shifting vision, it is a discovery. Once you discover, spontaneity happens. Okay? The nature of Atma is discovered, then spontaneous expression comes. Yet, then two things I told you. That Jnani's nature is to be practiced at one place, says Shankaracharya, like Sthita Prajna Lakshanas. Another place we say you can't practice it. One side you say you practice it, another side you can't say practice it. The difference is, you can practice it if you are a vicharaka, if you are a thinker, if you are a Vedantic student, Vedantic inquirer. Vicharaka means inquirer. You are doing Vedanta vichara, you are contemplating. While contemplating, you discover the Atma. In the discovery, what happens? Because of the old habit of the mind again the will comes. The old habits come. So to get rid of that old habit of mind, the old nature of mind, you can try to be again, stay with the Atma. The Atma which you have discovered, you can stay in that Atma's nature spontaneously, and that old habit you can erase. So to erase that old habit alone in a nididhyasana stage, these imitating Jnani's nature is taught for nididhyasana, for a contemplative stage. A person who does vichara, who does self-enquiry, who understands the truth that Atma is by nature Sakshi, he shifts his vision to Sakshi. In shifting the vision, it comes as a glimpse for you. As a glimpse it comes in the beginning, but again slips. For such a person who gets it as a glimpse and again slips, there he can again try to be Sakshi. Try to be Sakshi means what? You only pay attention towards it. You only pay attention towards it. That's all. You simply pay attention towards your Atma's nature, which is spontaneous. Just to pay attention, you transcend the will. You transcend the choice. Means you transcend the choice by understanding, not by will. Okay. With choice, what you do? Choice comes up to paying attention. Choice can be used only up to paying attention. Thereafter, the discovery is a spontaneous, is a self-existing, is a self-happening, self-occurrence. You don't choose. Discovery is something, it happens. Your choice comes up to only paying attention to it. Just relaxed way, pay attention. You allow the discovery to happen. Only up to that point. So here, in all these Sthita Prajna Lakshanas, a person who is doing already Vichara, so there you can only pay your attention and allow the discovery to take place. There alone you can practice it. But one who doesn't do Vichara, one who doesn't do contemplation, such a person, he thinks that Jnani, whatever he did it, and I want to do only by practicing it. Only by practicing means it is becoming an ethics. As by ethically practicing, you can't become enlightened. That means by trying to practice, you can't transcend the very choice. That will not happen. It will be unnecessarily struggling. You may get a state of mind, but it is not a transcending state. You will be stubbornly holding your mind one thought. You will be behaving. You will become an artificial person. That's what Gandhiji did it. And many people these days, they say, I read the book and try to practice myself. We told there is something which a human mind cannot figure out. Human choice can't do that. It is a discovery. This is where you need Guru's help. It is apaurushaya, we say. It is an impersonal thing. An impersonal fact, a universal fact you have to discover. The discovery can happen where Guru can help. Guru means one who himself understood it, who discovered it with the help of his own Guru. He can help you. So, without that Vichara mind, without that Jnana, you try to practice it as an ethics. So here the Jnani's nature, which is described here, is not for simple practicing as an ethics alone. It is tune up your mind to discover that Sakshitvam through this behavior. These behaviors are only symbols. Okay? That how Jnani behaves, he is spontaneous, he is like this, he loves everybody. Loves everybody doesn't mean he wants each person how to behave. He is not talking like that. See, Jnani, universal love. Universal love comes from when you transcend the individuality, universal love comes. But what does an ethical man does it? He wants to practice universal love with each person. When you try to practice with each person, it can't be universal. Because your attention is in each. You are an individual. You are choosing. By person to person, you are choosing. It becomes ethics. It can't become transcendence. See, when you are practicing it as an ethics, you remain an individual. You are relating to each individual, individual by individual, person by person, you are choosing, you are practicing. By this choice, you can't become universal love. Because by choosing, you are relating to person. By relating to each individual, again you are choosing. So this choice is an ethics alone. Ethics can help you to a little degree. Means extreme violent mind will come down, but doesn't mean you can transcend it. You can extreme violent mind, you can control little bit, but you can't transcend it. Okay. By relating to each person like Gandhiji means any person who thinks that by practicing ethics, you transcend Atma, you transcend mind, and you transcend individuality and understand Atma. Here, the mistake is you are choosing as an individual. By individually choosing, by relating to person, you can't become universal. Because it is a contradiction. It doesn't work. But if you look at, then when Jnani's explanation, Sarvabhuta Hite Rata, Jnani's expression, Sarvabhuta Hite Rata, is a Vedantic idea. It is a suggestion for understanding the Atma. It is not It is not a practical behavior, ethics to be practiced in life. It is not ethics to be practiced in life. It is a Vedantic, it is an idea, it is a, what you say, it is a suggestion for practicing contemplation. It is a suggestion for practicing contemplation. See the difference? It is a suggestion for practicing Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. Now, sitting in your meditation seat on your Vedantic Vichara, you are thinking of all beings be put into one waking state, and all state you are seeing as a Sakshi. So you are transcending the Sakshi, you are discovering Sakshi by putting all being. It is a more a contemplative idea than a practical idea. Once you transcend, once you understand by your contemplation that you love everybody, you are a Atma, once you intuit that Atma, then Sarvabhuta Hite Rata, that universal love, spontaneous expression, it comes on its own. It doesn't come as a result of practice. Okay? By ethically practicing, you don't get universal love. By discovering universal Atma, your Atma is same as everybody's Atma. Everybody's Atma is my Atma. In the discovery, spontaneous expression will be universal love. Universal love is a spontaneous result, is not a end point of your practice. It is a spontaneous expression, comes on its own when you discover the Atma. Okay? It is a suggestion for contemplation. It is not an ethics to be practiced. People think by choice, by choosing you practice and you will become choiceless. That will not happen. And you become an artificial person. And there will be many contradictions. There will be stress. And then you can see them, Gandhiji struggling hard and trying to do, making mistakes. People get angry, shout at him. These days people are abusing Gandhiji. It is the way he took about. He thought that spontaneity, Jnani's enlightened state is a matter of practice. As an ethics, enlightened state is not a matter of choice. It is a transcending the choice. Transcending the choice is not an action. It is a discovery. It is an understanding. Once you understand, it happens. Therefore, these are all Sthita Prajna Lakshanas are given as a contemplation, as an idea, suggestions for contemplation. They are all discoveries. Each quality you discover, that the behavior becomes itself, spontaneously comes. You, by practicing, you don't, for example, universal love, you don't get it by practicing. You pay attention to your Atma, you discover Atma which is selfless, which is universal. In that infinite discovery, universal love comes on its own. You don't get it by practice, it comes on its own. So this is the point, very important point people have to understand. That's why I told Vedanta needs more by a seriously, patiently you have to pursue. It's not a public talk, like a political talk, like a broadcasting that you make, like a news, political news and all. It's not just a chatting, matter of chatting. It is something inwardly looking inward, that requires, even sitting in front of your cell phone and watching it itself is a meditation. Listening to your talk itself is a meditation. If you are in that state, you can do that. Anybody can do it, anybody is welcome. If he's a beginner, then he takes some time and listen patiently and go through certain preliminary steps, then you will come to it. Otherwise, then you need a preliminary steps. Generally, you need personal guidance of a guru. That's why I told first you take a guru, personally receive guidance, come to certain stage, then you can listen to anybody. And then you can listen to my cell phone or anybody's also. Because the preliminary tuning up has to be done with the help of a guru. Without that do it, then it becomes a chatting session. You just talk intellectually. You think all these are concepts alone. Now, did we talk of any concept now? Did we talk of in this last 1 hour? More than 1 hour. No, I took extra 10 minutes. More than one. We are not giving any concepts. We are only making you to watch. It is a watching. It is a Vedantic meditation. It is an inquiry. It has to be discovered. What I have told is, if you have discovered what I told, that a spontaneity cannot be achieved by effort. Because spontaneity is effortlessness. Effortlessness cannot be achieved by making effort. You can't become choiceless by making a choice. This is to be discovered, it is not to be practiced. If you listen with that attention of Vedanta, a Vedantic jignasu, if you pay attention, if you listen in a Vedantic way, you understand it. It is to be discovered. By no amount of practice, you can understand what I have told now, what I have been telling now. It has to be discovered, not by choosing. Okay? That's why practicing is a different thing. If mind is very wild and disturbed, your mind is going away, there you can practice. Practicing is at one level. At certain level where mind is too wavering, too disturbing, there you can practice. Mind is very wild and very, what you call it got into a bad habits, then you have to pull the mind, control the mind, and put it in a, because it is addicted in a wrong way, it is addicted in a wrong line of thinking, there you can bring it. But once you can set right the mind, control the mind, control in the sense to a certain degree, purify the mind, then it is only a discovery. Pay attention and discovery. Okay, these two levels, karma yoga, jnana yoga, these two levels people have to understand. Okay, with this 25th shloka is over. 26th shloka we shall continue in the next class. And due to some disturbance, I think in the last few weeks I couldn't do that. I hope we will do. But again, I'll just tell you, 16th November, when is that 16th November? I have to see the calendar. 16th November, again I am going out of station. 1st December I shall come back to Holy Narsipura. 16th November I go out, and then 1st December for a fortnight, around a fortnight, I'll come back. When I come back, we shall continue in the December 1st. Before that also, up to 15th November, we will continue our talks like before. Up to 15th November. Then again 1st December. 16th November to December 1st. These few days I am going out of station. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.